Thank you. The customs special procedures. But before we kick off, I just wanted to let you know that the slides will be shared after the event by through the chamber that you originally registered with. And just give you a bit of background what the Chambers Trade Academy is, which is an initiative by a selected number of chambers of commerce across the UK, where we provide free virtual sessions about, you know, technical aspects of exporting, importing, latest regulations, as well as opportunities about going global. Combined, we represent about 15,000 businesses across all sizes and sectors. Next slide, please. So across the network, the Chamber network, we provide a wide range of international trade support that ranges from international trade events like this one, readiness assessment, export, import, and training courses, bespoke advice and compliance services, market entry services, partner finding, commercial debt recovery, foreign exchange services. We also provide certification, legalization, and apostille services, especially supporting exporters and importers with their export documentation, such as certificates of origin, import certificates, ATA carnets, and so forth. Some of us are also customs brokers, so helping you with your customs entries, export and import. And we are here to support you in any stage of your internationalization journey. So this is just it in terms of an introduction to what the Chambers Trade Academy is. And now, without further ado, I would like to welcome my colleague Julia Bonani, which is gonna talk to you about the customs special procedures. Please note that we're gonna manage chat, so if you have any questions whilst the presentation is happening, please put them in there and we'll pick them up at the end of the session. So thank you and welcome, Julia.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this session of the Chamber Trade Academy on special procedures. So to start with, what are customs special procedures? Customs special procedures allow you to store, temporarily use, process or repair your goods and get partial or full relief from import duty or in some cases suspension. From an HMRC point of view, a basic condition of granting any special procedure authorization is that it must be possible to supervise and monitor the use of the goods and the relief without having to introduce administrative arrangements disproportionate to the economic needs involved. Among the main special procedures, we have customs or bonded warehousing, temporary admission, NGOs, return goods relief, inward processing, outward processing. In this chart, we can just see what are usually the steps, the different stages involved when using a special procedures. To start with, we have the authorization being granted by HMRC. Then the goods are placed under the customs special procedure. The goods are supervised by customs, and then in some cases there will be the discharge of the special procedures. As you can see, not all the stages are applicable to all the special procedures. In fact, except for free zone, goods under special procedures must be covered by a guarantee and might be moved without further customs formalities. The first special procedure we're going to talk about is customs warehousing. A customs or bonded warehouse is a secure facility where dutiable non-UK goods can be stored, manipulated, or undergo manufacturing operations without immediate payment of duties. There are two different kinds of customs warehouses. They can be state managed or managed by private enterprises. If privately managed, the customs bonded warehouse must be registered with the government. The processing or working allowed on the goods held in these warehouses is generally limited to activities necessary to preserve them for future distribution. If goods are then released to the UK market, the duty will only be collected when the goods are released to free circulation. In order to obtain the authorization to operate a customs warehouse, if you're a private individual, your business will have to be established in the UK. You will need to have a record keeping system in place. The warehouse premises must be suitable for the storage of goods, and you must demonstrate the economic need for a customs warehouse. You can easily apply to get a customs warehousing approval on the government website by filing a C1214 form. Another customs special procedure is temporary admission. Temporary admission allows for a limited period the use but not processing of imported goods in the UK before re-exporting them. It grants a total partial relief such that they are free from other charges such as VAT, excise duties. In case your goods are not listed in the eligible list of goods on the government website, your goods might still be eligible for a reduced duty rate, which is usually 3% of the full duty rate. And in order to get the reduced duty rate, then they will need to be intended for re-export from the UK. They will not be charged, changed, or altered except for any routine maintenance that might be required. They're not consumable goods. They're not liable to import VAT. The maximum limit for temporary admission is usually 2 years, so a maximum of 24 months. There are various different kinds of temporary admission authorizations. We have a full authorization, which you can apply for online through the government gateway. And usually you should apply at least a month before you plan to import the goods. Then we have authorization by declaration, which is dedicated to those who are not fully authorized or have a retrospective authorization ongoing. And you can use it just for a limited times in a year. Then we have a retrospective authorization, which can cover all the movement of the goods for up to a year before you're applying for it. And the authorization by oral declaration, by which you need to submit a form when crossing the border. You can request the authorization to be amended, renewed, or cancelled directly with HMRC once you have your letter. Another special procedure, probably less common than the other ones, is end-use relief. End-use relief in UK customs allows for a reduction or elimination of customs duty on certain important goods that meet specific criteria and are put to a particular use within a designated period of time. This relief is applicable to specific tariff codes, primarily in industries like aerospace, defense, and shipbuilding. Key points about end-use relief is that the goods must be in a specific way as defined by the relief criteria. If the conditions are not met, then the normal duty rate will apply. There is also a set period within which the goods must be used for the specified purpose, and customs authorities need to be able to supervise the use of the goods for the entire period, not exceeding 2 years of time. And only certain goods, as I said, can be covered by this special procedure, and this will be indicated on the UK integrated tariff. Another special procedure is return goods relief. Return goods relief allows goods previously exported from the UK to be re-imported without additional customs duties or taxes. To qualify for return goods relief, the goods must meet the following criteria. So they must have been exported from the UK and returned within 3 years of time. However, you can apply for an extension depending on particular cases. HMRC might grant you extra time. They also must be returned in the same state they were previously exported, so no alteration is possible. However, there are a few treatments that can be carried out, such as necessary repairs or maintenance to keep the goods in working order, treatments that only alter the appearance of the goods, and treatments later found unsuitable for the goods. They must have been in free circulation in the UK or Northern Ireland at the time of import, unless originally declared for inward processing or end-use relief. Some other criteria for return goods relief is that when re-importing the goods in the UK, you need to provide evidence that the goods that you are importing, re-importing, are the same one that were previously exported from the country. So examples of evidence can be proof of export or alternative evidence that the goods were in the UK previously. Usually the export must show some tracking system, such as chassis number or serial numbers, to show that the goods are literally the same. Now we're going to focus a little bit more on IPR and OPR. So inward processing and outward processing reliefs are mainly used when processing and repairing are involved on your goods. So for processing, we refer to simple tasks such as sorting or repacking goods to complex manufacturing operations, whereas repairing refers to the restoration of goods to their original working condition without enhancing the goods' performance. To claim relief from goods under IPR or OPR, the goods must be repairable, meaning there cannot be substances like mineral or chemicals. Both importing and exporting goods for repair are permissible. So we're going to start looking at inward processing relief first. Inward processing relief allows goods to be imported into the UK for processing without incurring import duty, other taxes such as VAT or excises, and commercial policy measures. The imported goods can undergo various processing operations such as manufacturing, assembly, or repair. After processing, the goods can either be re-exported from the UK or they can be released to free circulation. If they're being re-exported, then the suspension of duties will still apply. If they're released to free circulation, duties and VAT might become payable on the processed goods value only. This relief is designed to enhance the competitiveness of UK businesses by allowing them to process imported materials without a immediate financial burden of these charges. In order to get an IPR authorization, businesses must submit an application to HMRC detailing mainly the nature of the goods, the processing operations that they want to carry out, and the intended disposition of the goods. HMRC will review the application, and if approved, they will issue a letter which contains the IPR authorization, which will outline the terms and conditions and specify the time frame within which the processing of the goods needs to be carried out and completed. When the processing has been completed, businesses can decide to release the goods into free circulation or, as I said, re-export them. And at the end of any of these, in any of these cases, the business will have to complete a bill of discharge. A bill of discharge is a formal document used in inward processing relief, which basically serves as a formal record to demonstrate that the goods imported under IPR have been appropriately processed and that their subsequent handling complies with the conditions that were set up in the IPR authorization. The bill of discharge basically helps HMRC to keep track of the goods coming under IPR and of the duties that are paid at the end of the processing period. As for temporary admission, IPR has also various types of authorization. The main one is the full authorization, which again you can apply for on the government website. by filling in an SP3 form and a self-assessment questionnaire. Then we have the retrospective authorization. If the goods have been previously imported under IPR without an authorization, you can still apply with HMRC to obtain authorization, which will cover the previous imports you've been doing. The maximum period which can be covered is 12 months. We also have authorization by declaration, which is usually for those businesses that don't use IPR on a regular basis. In fact, this kind of authorization can only be used for a maximum of 3 times per year, and it can only cover goods valued up to £500,000. And we have the last one is the authorization covering Northern Ireland and the European Union. Opposed to IPR, we have outward processing relief. So OPR allows the temporarily export the goods for processing or repair in the EU or other countries. So usually this process enables traders to claim full or partial duty relief when the goods are re-imported into the United Kingdom. No duties due on the reimportation if the goods are repaired free of charge, and we're going to look into this a bit later. But under this procedure, the union goods retain their union status while being processed. So the Customs Authority specifies the period within which the outward processing procedure must be completed. This still happens on the letter that HMRC is going to give to you. And the outward processing applies to repair goods in 3 scenarios. So if the goods are repaired free of charge, for standard exchange system, and for prior import of replacement products. Going back to how the duties are calculated, as I said, if the goods are under a guarantee, no duty or VAT is due on the reimportation of repair goods. However, some documentary evidence must be provided in that case. For chargeable repairs, duty and VAT are due on the repair cost, which includes the payment for the works carried out, plus inward freight and insurance. For processes instead, duty and VAT are due on the added value. So the cost of the processing plus inward freight and insurance. When we're talking about customs special procedures, usually we also need a guarantee. A guarantee in UK customs is a financial security provided by HMRC to cover potential customs duty, taxes, or other liabilities that might come up during the use of the special procedures. So they might be required from HMRC to obtain the authorization to use IPR or other special procedures. It is required for potential and existing customs debts. The level of guarantee is based on a reference amount and must be sufficient at all times to cover any debts that might come up. The debtor needs to provide a guarantee, and a comprehensive guarantee is available to cover more than one transaction. The guarantee basically ensures that the government can collect the owed amount in case the business fails to pay the liabilities. Talking about the customs comprehensive guarantee in the specific, if you transport products more than 3 times per year using common or union transit, you must obtain authorization to use a customs comprehensive guarantee. You will not need to provide a customs guarantee unless HMRC informs you otherwise when you apply for a full authorization to place goods into a special customs procedure such as IPR, temporary admission, or undues. And if the authorization to operate a temporary storage facility or customs warehouse is submitted to HMRC. Usually, the customs comprehensive guarantee can cover multiple transactions, as we already said, or it can cover a range of activities over a period of time. The amount required for a guarantee is usually based on the potential liability. So what happens that HMRC determines the amount based on the nature and volume of the transaction or activities involved. Right. We're going to have now a Q&A session, so feel free to ask any questions on the chat.
Thank you so much, Julia. And I think we do have a question, but before we finish, can we ask you to just quickly give us some feedback on the session so we can improve and also make sure that we are putting together events that are meeting some of the interests across exporting and importing? That will be very useful. So in the meantime, whilst we have that, there is a question on the chat, which is, if you use a freight forwarder's customs warehouse, do you still need an authorization to use this special procedure?
So usually, if the freight forwarder has the customs warehouse, it's the freight forwarder that will have all the authorizations. So in order to run a customs warehouse, they need to be registered with HMRC. So it's probably you won't need any kind of information. You just need to tell your broker that you want to use a special procedure, and then if the broker completing the customs clearance is not a freight forwarder, then the broker will need the customs warehouse ID and registration, because these details needs to be added on the customs clearance.
So if the freight forwarder already has the customs warehouse, basically the exporter or importer using the customs warehouse from the freight forwarder won't need to go through the authorization process themselves.
No, they won't.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions? I can only see one so far on the chat, but if anybody has any questions that they would want to put forward, please feel free. No, let me see. There is another one also from Isabel. If you import goods from the EU, from the EU or EU origin and leave them in the customs warehouse, then re-export to the EU, does the EU customer still pay duty?
So usually when you are importing goods in a customs warehouse or bonded warehouse, the goods will keep their original country of origin. So they will preserve it. So they shouldn't be paying any duty afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Another question: how the ownership of the goods affect the procedures?
What do you mean by ownership?
So if it, for you mean Gardalis, I think that's you. Can you provide a bit more information? So you mean if you are the one who owns the, I do not own the goods, but import them.
Right.
Are you like acting on behalf of an exporter then?
Yes, I think it means IPR. So I'm Pauline, I'm from the chamber as well. Just jumping in here. I'm assuming if you're saying you don't own the goods, you import them and then export them, you mean IPR. If you use IPR because you're doing a processing in the UK, you do not own the goods, which is why some of our members apply for IPR because they can't do postponed VAT, for example, because you can't postpone the VAT if you don't own the goods. They would have to pay the VAT. So IPR allows them to not pay the VAT. So no, you do not own the goods.
Thank you, Pauline.
Right. Did that answer your question, Gardalis? Can you just let us know? Okay. Is there any other questions? If you do this, this is a good moment. Otherwise, if you not have any questions now, but you may think of other questions later on, do get in touch with your local chamber and make sure that you liaise with them. Most of the chambers will provide with IP and OP special training, is also customer special procedures training and consultancy. So if you are in need of more in-depth advice or applying for any of these special customs procedures, please get in touch with your local chamber. This is just to let you know that we're going to be running another session on the 19th of September related to visas and immigration, as there will be some changes coming up, which may affect whether you are employing people here in the UK or sending people abroad. So just make sure that if you are interested or you're having people moving people in and out of the UK for delivering services or other, then to tune in on that session. One question, yes, the slides will be sent after this event. Please, it will come from your local chamber, whoever you register with. So please liaise with them. It will be the same with the recording. So please bear with us. It might be a couple of days before we can send the recording, but yes, everything will be available to you after this session. And before you go, as I said, if you can help us with submitting a poll that might be showing in your screens and letting us know about how you're finding trading with the world these days is very important. It's an opportunity for us to feedback to our local and national government, especially now that we have a new government in place. So it will be great to be able to feedback on how traders are finding current trade and the kind of support that you need. I think there is another questions. We're just gonna get one more. Let me see, from Eva. If we return goods to Japan by DDP Incoterms, is there any tax duty applying to be paid by end user in Japan?
I was just replying to Eva. If we can get the tariff code so we can check also on the online trade tariff, because I'm not able to tell you right now, but I can look into it.
Okay, so yeah, we'll take some of these questions if there is any more. Sorry, goods. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't see any more questions. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we wish you a great rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia, can we stop the recording?
Yeah.